Hi, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of Talk More Talk, which is usually a solo Beatles video cast. There'll be some solo Beatles possibly here and there, but this is a more of a Beatles discussion because my co-host and I are going to be discussing a big weekend that just happened. The first one after 2 years of missing out, and finally the third year really got to do it, and that is the Fest for Beatles fans, and we'll call it a recap. Talk about what happened and what we thought, and maybe some other surprises, special things. So, first of all, a lot of you know me already. I'm Joe Mayo. I have a YouTube channel called Mean Mr. Mayo, which deals with a lot of Beatles stuff and solo Beatles stuff. So, I'll tell you as we get started that I regret that I couldn't go to the fest every single day I was going to, but we'll get into that. I'm glad I did make it and rallied for Sunday. We'll talk a little about that as we go. I'll introduce my co-host now. First up, I want to introduce somebody who has a Paul McCartney centric podcast called Two Legs. He's one half of the two legs. He came all the way from Arizona to go to the Fest for Beatles fans in New Jersey, and it was his very first ever fest. He a fest virgin kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, and none other than Tom Hunyadi. Hey, Tom.
Hey Joe, hey Kit and Ken. Yeah, and as they say, you never forget your first, and I will never forget this one. So
Yeah, I figured I'd
You've
put
been
I'd
in,
put you first, even over
right, that's
the
okay.
usual Queen, of course. The Queen here we have the Queen of everything, the Queen of Beatle fests. I mean, and
Wow. The
Queen
list
for
goes on.
Fest for Beatles fans,
And she's
indeed.
got she look at the
Uh,
background she's got the background is the
Yep.
she's got those. She's
the
got
fest
the Fest booklet background
booklet.
up there too. She's got some books out there, which I kind of memorize now the titles. Songs we were singing, guided tours through the Beatles' lesser known tracks, fandom in the Beatles, the act you've known for all these years, and Michael Jackson, FAQ. Whew.
Very
All that's left to know all
good.
about the King of Pop. Boy, oh
Very
boy.
good.
Long titles, long titles. It's none other than Kid O'Toole. Hi, Kid.
Hi, Joe. Thank you very much. Hi, Tom. Hi, Ken. Hi, everybody. We've got a lot of fun stories to tell you tonight.
Oh yeah, and last but not least, I didn't see him on Sunday when I was there because he was so busy running around doing things and being on all kinds of panels and interviews and everything else. You know him from his syndicated show, Every Little Thing, Things We Said Today, the Beatles podcast that he does, and on YouTube, Ken Michaels Radio. That says it all. Ken Michaels. Hey, Ken.
hey Joe, hey Tom, hey Kit. Have we recovered?
Hi. Oh
Just
no.
barely.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah, it wasn't too far a trip for me, but to start off,
I
to
needed a
start off
week.
with,
I needed a week off from that
yeah,
weekend.
No
That's
kidding.
all of
yeah,
us.
right.
Yeah.
That was something. Then, of course, troubles I've heard with flights and things
Oh
with
yeah.
the
Yeah.
planes.
Getting there
That
was
was not fun.
interesting.
Yeah, getting there sucked, but we got there after delayed flights and then and booking cars. Well, luckily we all made it. So and we all made it there safely. So that was, I
Yes,
guess that's
indeed.
the important thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it was worth it, Tom, in the end,
Yes,
huh?
absolutely,
All
absolutely.
right, we'll get into that. I'll tell you, as I was saying at the beginning, I had hotel reservations for all three nights, days. When I was going to go Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then at the last minute I had to cancel. It was work related stuff. I even thought I wasn't going to be able to be there Sunday, and then close to the last minute, I was able to snag Sunday. So at least I made it there. I really regret that I wasn't able to take part in what took place with which is Laurence Juber being interviewed by the hosts here of Talk More Talk. I wanted to do that. That was on Saturday. Had it been Sunday, maybe I could have done it. And of course, we'll get into all of that as well. Wow, lots to talk about. So much so I don't know where to begin. Why don't we begin with some surprises, some
Hmm.
goodies that maybe we picked up, some of us at the fest. Okay, let's see. Kit, what do you got? You're itching to show some stuff that you
All
picked up.
right. Let me pick this up. Well, this is a piece of memorabilia I have wanted to get for so long. I might have to turn off my background. Well, maybe not.
Oh, you got it.
I got it.
Yeah.
Here, let me turn my background off so I can fully show this off. Okay, let's see here. Choose virtual background. None. Okay, here we go. So this is, I have wanted to get the tray for so long.
Classic
Okay.
Beatles tray.
You don't understand. I remember the first book I ever got, as a Beatle fan, and it was one that had all the, memorabilia and all. And I saw this tray, and on Sunday, went into the marketplace, and a dealer had one in good condition and a decent price. So at long last, I got it. I got it. So I'm really excited. It's really is, and it's heavier than I expected. I was expecting it to, be kind of flimsier, but it's nice quality.
Congratulations. Well, whenever your servants serve you, Queen, make sure they use the Beatles tray to put all your drinks on and all your snacks in.
All our rum
Are you really
punches will
gonna
go
use
on
it?
that tray.
That's right.
The rum
Bring the-
punch.
On the beach, the
Right.
rum punches
Oh,
will
okay.
be served on this. I'm just so excited. Finally got it.
Mm.
And then I got a couple of books. This one, and I know Tom, you spoke to her too. This is a book by Debbie Greenberg. Cavern Club: The Inside Story. She actually sat next to me. Her table was next to me, and what a fascinating
Yes.
woman she is. Her family owned the Cavern Club for a time.
Yep.
And I actually think we may have to break our rule about, only solo stuff. We may have to have her on, because the story she told about seeing the Beatles in the Cavern Club,
Yep.
like when they came back from Hamburg, just incredible. I mean, and she talked about the atmosphere in the club, and yes, it did smell that bad.
Did the wall sweat?
Yes,
Did the
she
wall
said
sweat?
100% true. But that was part of its charm. I mean,
Yeah.
that's it. And just the nicest person.
Yep.
And so I, of course, had to get the book. I can't wait to dive into this. So I got that. And finally, Jim Bergenstaff.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yes. He, of course, wrote The Beatles Who Vanished, which was a really fascinating book. Of course, I'm sure many of you know it about Jimmy Nicol, and how whatever happened to him. Well, the Rock and Roll Detective is back. And this is his new book, Mysteries in the Music, Case Closed. And he's investigated many more mysteries of rock. And I, again, can't wait to dive into this as well. And the way he does research, I'm sure that he has
Lewison-esque.
Lewison-esque, exactly. Yes. When he gets on the case,
yes,
he does not stop until it's solved. So, and he's a great guy. I've known him for a long time, and so I was really excited to pick this up. So, so those are my main purchases from this fest.
All right, Ken, did you pick up anything this year, or you didn't have time?
I really didn't have time, but usually I'm not that much into memorabilia at all. I like looking at it, but I never felt like I had to own any of this stuff. I've always been more about the music than anything else. I'm always interested in all the books that come out, and usually whenever I hear about a new one, I try to get a copy through the publisher. So, and then I usually do a promotion behind it. So all these books, Jim Birkin said I interviewed when the Jimmy Nicol book came out. And he's great interview. Yep. So, and certainly the woman about the cavern, I'd love to read about that. So I'll see if I can work that into my promotions and all, and try to get her on this show, or maybe things we said today. But because of the fact that usually whenever I go to the fest, I'm on the main floor. I'm either in the main ballroom watching all the interviews, or I'm on a panel, or I'm talking to fans on the main floor. I regret not having gone to the 9th floor, which is where all the authors were. Just didn't have time. This weekend from all the activities.
As I say,
that's one of the things that's frustrating about the fest, is that there's so many things going on simultaneously, And in most cases, I want to go to more than one thing, but you can only choose one.
Yep.
And it was an action-packed fest, like it always is every single time. But I really don't. In the early years, I used to buy stuff from where the memorabilia was, and although I didn't really buy memorabilia, what I consider memorabilia, I was always trying to hunt down recordings, rarities, maybe even bootlegs at the time. But it's been a long time since I've done that, because I kind of feel like I have everything that I need. And for anything new that comes out, like books or whatever, I try to get them myself, through the publishing company or through the
Right.
authors. So sorry if that's
Okay.
disappointing to some.
I wasn't sure if you had anything. Well, I understand for
Yeah.
sure. Like I say, not to be repetitive, but when I was there Sunday, you were so busy on the main floor. I mean, I didn't even see you anywhere. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave Tom for last because I know he's gonna have probably the most to show. I'm just guessing. For me, I actually, on my channel, me, Mr. Mayo, plug. I've done videos where I've kind of showed what I got. I didn't get a lot though this particular year because I was only there one day. But I'll show a couple of items. First, this album that I've wanted for a long time. I've even passed it up at the last fest, which was probably 2019, and maybe before that. And it's the Louise Harrison album. All about the Beatles. Questions all about the Beatles answered by Louise Harrison Caldwell. And I'm thinking maybe of changing my name to Sam because this one is it's autographed to Sam from Lou Harrison. So this is going to be an interesting listen. I've never had this and I've never heard this before.
Yeah.
So that's going to be good. I picked up.
Oh.
I know Tom did as well. I'm going to let him, go into detail if you like. But I did get Terry Crane's book, which I wanted for a long, long time.
Great book.
These days, when it comes to books, I'm so much into reference books. I kind of like this where you want to. It's wonderful. I've been referring to it since I got it, looking up stuff that I need to get. I'll always need Beatles stuff. But probably the most special thing, this is the last for me, that I got that means a lot to me, of course, is, and I don't know if everyone's lucky enough to have one. It's a tote bag.
I never got that one.
Nor have I. Yes.
Oh my
Yeah, this is the
gosh.
latest one.
I'm always promoting her tote bag behind me.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
there it
that's
is.
up
There
that
it is.
way.
You see it hanging up? Thank you, kid. I don't want to leave out acknowledging Tom for a favor that I really appreciate. He brought a cassette tape for me with him of "Give My Regards to Broad Street," because right over there, well, moving out of the way so you can see the Paul display. I bought that at the last. I think it was the last fest I went to, also 2019 or 18, and it did not have the cassette tape. Wrong side. You can barely see it unless you have a big screen. But Tom brought me an extra cassette tape that he had of it, and I was able to plug it right in there for the display. So thanks, Tom. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And now we have a 45 minutes of.
I'm gonna go
left,
quick.
if you
I
like.
swear. I'm not even gonna show everything. I'm just gonna show the stuff that I was really excited about. One, I never got the All Together Now book. So I picked that up from Wally and Walter. I'm sorry, Walter and Harry. And I didn't realize Wally was gonna be there. So no sooner than 10 minutes after I bought this book, I went down to watch one of the panels, and then there walked in Wally. So I had him sign it for me. So
Nice.
so that was good.
And Tom, to this day, that might be the first Beatle book I ever had when I was.
I believe it. Yeah.
13 or something.
I've heard that from a lot of people.
I still grab for that. Like even with the internet, I always go for the book when I'm looking for like orders of release and things like that. I always grab the book.
It was a pioneer.
Yes,
no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
And
It's
speaking of book
that
I have in my Beatles collection.
Wow.
And speaking of pioneers, I was really excited when I heard Lewison was going to be back. So naturally, I brought my copy of Tune In, and I had him. There we go. I had him sign it for me as well.
Awesome.
So that was great. Yeah. And, Terry Crane's, Joe showed his book. You got that there. I actually brought the one item that he has in the book, the Paul McCartney bubble bath bottle, which, my, Kid O'Toole was so gracious to tell me about at the Blue Village Vinyl that I ended up buying it. But yeah, he's going to be a future guest on Two Legs as well. And I tell you, I absolutely fell in love with Debbie Greenberg. She is an absolutely beautiful, adorable, smart woman, and can't wait to hear more stories that she has about being a part of the cavern. I think she said she saw 192 times or something like that.
Unreal.
Right. So
but who's counting?
Yeah, who's counting? Yeah. Real quick, just the vinyl that I was really happy with. There was only 2 record store day items that I didn't get, so I've picked up the Ram Mono that came out back in 2012. In 2013, I believe this one came out, and this was the 12-inch of Maybe I'm Amazed. This has the stereo and mono on there. Ken and Kit will like this. Pretty Little Head. This is the 12-inch version. So
I like that song.
Yeah. It was funny, my co-host Andy was there, and thank you, Andy, for everything you did. It was just had a great time hanging out with you. He knew I wanted all the best UK version, and so I was getting ready to go on the collector's panel, and he came running in, and he said, Tom, there's someone's got the UK all the best out there. So I handed them the money. I said, look it over. If it's in good condition, get it. And so it was in really good condition. So actually, I made this part of the collector's panel as that was going on. So thank you, Andy. But
which one did I help you get that time? The US?
Yeah, the US. Yes,
yeah,
the US version. So thank you, Joe. And then lastly, the most important thing that I was looking for while I was there was Driving Rain on vinyl. And there it was. There it is.
But you had Chaos and Creation in the backyard, but you ended up not leaving with it.
Yeah, I ended up not leaving with it. They had a lot of people talk about how much the market has shrunk over the years, and I get that. But I can tell you from being the first time there, they had every rare thing I was looking for. And unfortunately wasn't able to buy all of it, but Andy found a great Brazilian 12-inch single of Once Upon a Long Ago. That's very rare.
Wow.
Very cool. And like I said, it might not have been big quantity, but the quality was there. And
that was what I was going to bring up next. For a lot of people who talk about this kind of stuff. Oh, that's great. I wish if I would have saw that first, it would have been gone.
Yeah, and this is a promotional piece that from Starbucks from when Paul was on the Here Now label.
Oh, sure.
So this was on all the windows in Starbucks. So he had this, and I wasn't going to leave without this either. But I found some other little goodies, but again, I don't want to make this an hour's worth of.
Well, and watch the Two Legs, right?
Yes.
Andy and I did a things we bought yesterday and today video up a couple days ago, and we showed everything that we picked up, and a George Harrison shirt. I needed a George shirt, and I finally got a George Harrison shirt. So
that's my George. I got the same shirt, so I'll have to get another one. So we don't. Otherwise, I'm not going out of this house until he takes that shirt off. I'm gonna be wearing the same exact shirt.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Can I say one thing about Terry Crane?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the things I love about going to the fest is that there's so many people that we see in name only who write to us as fans, and also authors that, up until recently, until Things We Said Today was also a video program, I only spoke to them and it was an audio interview. I didn't see the person, but I got to meet Terry Crane, and his book is really wonderful. Even though I'm not into collecting memorabilia, I like reading about it. And it's got everything that was released in the United States from 1964 through 66. And he gave me a great interview a few years ago when the book first came out. And that's on my website in case anybody wants to hear it. So you learn a lot from, he really knows his stuff.
Right. And he got a really good question. He got a really good question during the collectors panel about whether somebody asked whether or not they thought that Brian Epstein screwed over the Beatles or Scott screwed with the with the percentage that he got with all of these, items, and he gave a really good answer. So, but that we'll have him on, and we'll talk about that again on Two Legs as well. So,
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, what I like is that the dealer's room, every time we talk about, a lot of us fans who have been there buying items, the dealer's room, we always say it used to be tremendous. You could almost get lost in the dealer's room.
right.
Back when I went, 1981 was my first fest, and boy, you could spend forever in there. And
Yes.
now it's so tiny, relatively speaking. But now you have the internet. A lot of people sell over the internet and stuff like that. We didn't have any internet back then. But what I like about this particular weekend that passed is that Tom, as he said, he had what he wanted. Everything he wanted, it was there. Even though it might be kind of smaller than we were used to, Tom had nothing really to go by. It's his first
Right.
fest, and he couldn't
Yeah.
gauge it any other way. But yet he had a
Right.
great time,
Yeah.
and he wound up buying a lot of good stuff.
I wish I had a Fitbit on, because I would have loved to have seen how many steps I got for that whole weekend.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
And well, the guests. There were a lot of guests there. Laurence Juber,
Right.
Billy J. Kramer, Don Daneman of The Circle,
Right.
Greg Bissonette, that a lot of people will know, participated in Ringo's All-Star Band tours, his career. Peter Jackson and Michael Lindsay-Hogg together virtually, and Chris O'Dell. We can get into some of this. I don't even really know where to begin. Mark Lewison, of course, doing his Beatles in India
Mhm.
presentation. Did anybody get to see that? The Beatles in
Most,
India.
a good chunk of the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
really interesting because there's a lot of footage there that I've
Yeah.
never seen before
Yeah.
that he uncovered.
Mm-hmm.
And just curious as to why he's so heavily into this right now. I mean, obviously he's doing the research for his books, but he's in 2 documentaries now on the Beatles in India.
I was going
The
to
recent
say.
one that just came out and the Paul Saltzman one. So, I guess while he's doing the research, but to do a presentation like this, which takes a ton of work, to set up all the clips that he shows, it was really wonderful.
Yeah.
I think I wish he would tour with something like this, but then
Well,
I don't want to take him away from the
right.
book.
That's
Well, that's
right.
what he said about
book.
doing that tour. Was it last year?
Yeah.
He's got to make money, as well. I mean, he gets some money from writing the tune-in books, but obviously I'm sure he wants to, to make more money while he's at it. And I got a theory that he's writing both. I got a theory he's writing 2 and 3 at the same time. Just to get 2 out maybe in 2 years or whatever, and then part 3 won't be so long afterwards.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
whatever he learns about even the last few years, what would be in volume 3, he's going to take all that information now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's whatever he can get.
Yes.
So
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Okay, I was talking about Peter Jackson and Michael Lindsay-Hogg being there together, and wasn't that a kind of a late idea that they had for Michael Lindsay-Hogg to join them? I didn't remember them announcing that right away.
Well, let me just say that event, which was so incredible on Sunday with the 2 of them appearing together virtually, the Peter Jackson part was the result of Mark Lapidus asking me to write to Peter Jackson to see if he'd be interested in doing something by Zoom. And I did write to him, didn't hear back. Darren DeVivo from Things We Said Today wrote, and then all of a sudden he was interested. And so we knew, I think it was a couple of weeks before the fest, that Peter Jackson was going to be there. And I know that Mark also was trying to get Michael Lindsay-Hogg. But we only found out, I think, the day before the fest that Michael was going to be a part of it.
Wow.
And originally, the plan was, when it was just Peter Jackson, for it to be 1 hour long. It was going to be me and Darren asking questions along with Tom Frangione from the Sirius XM channel and Ken Dashow from Q104, who hosts Breakfast with the Beatles here in New York City. And we were going to ask questions for 45 minutes. The last 15 minutes, we were going to take questions from the audience. But once Michael Lindsay-Hogg came on board and he wanted to join in, we thought the last 15 minutes would be, Michael and Peter. And then they started talking.
Right.
And you
and
couldn't stop them.
And talking.
talking.
And the best thing we could do was just
not
shut
say
up,
anything. Yeah.
not say a word,
Yeah.
let those two guys talk. And they went on for like 45 minutes, I think. The whole thing lasted an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And we didn't want it to stop. In fact, Mark Lapidus had to cut them off, and then he got booed in the audience for doing that. So it was quite an event, but we didn't know about Michael Lindsay-Hogg until like the day before.
Wow. Well,
So,
it was, I mean, well, first of all, the first part of it, it was, such a treat. And I was just I was cheering you on from the audience, I was like, wow, you guys up there, interviewing Peter Jackson. I mean, I know this wasn't the first time, obviously, but still, but still, I mean, I was just so thrilled for you to be up there doing that. And I think the most exciting moment of that part was when he started talking about, and it was the question you asked, Ken, about, the software he has and so forth, and he think about using it for other projects, and he talked about the Star Club tapes.
Right.
And that, he's thought about taking a couple of songs, using his technology to clean up the sound and all, and then approaching Apple, and that maybe if they liked what they heard, that they let him work on the rest. And then when he said to the audience, so if you guys have any ideas about tracks you'd like me to work on, I mean, I think there was a collective gasp from the audience, like, are you for real? Sure, we'd love to help you. I mean, it was, I mean, the thought of him working on the Star Club tapes, I mean, it's just incredible.
Well,
and
it's not just that. I mean, after a while, once he showed us in the interview that we did on Things We Said Today, this new technology, which is called Mal, was named after Mal Evans as a tribute. But it's a way of isolating all the tracks. And they had to take the tracks from Twickenham, which was mono on film, and isolate the instrumentation there, and even the studio chatter. I mean, the reason why you're hearing them talk at all in Twickenham, very often, because they knew they were bugged. They were playing the guitar as they were talking, so that would cover up what they were saying.
Right.
But with this new technology, you can hear it more clear, including the cafeteria talk that John and Paul had in the documentary. So my mind started to race with this technology. I started to think, what about stuff that's already, that you could either clean up, remix, take mono tracks, make them stereo, good mixes of stereo, like the Deck Audition recordings, BBC recordings, the early recordings the Beatles did for EMI, where they didn't keep the original masters to make the multi-tracks, and you had several instruments on individual tracks. If you can separate that, you can make better mixes. And I thought to myself, you could have a gold mine here. It's not just the Star Club. Star Club comes to mind. Maybe they can do something with audience tapes that people had of Beatle concerts. Who knows? This is just the new technology now. There's actually a bootleg where I've heard a few tracks of the Deck Audition recordings that's been done in stereo. But if you use this technology, who knows how good it can sound? So I thought I would address him about that. And glad to hear, please send a few tracks for the Star Club.
I mean, that was a wonderful moment. And then when Michael Lindsay-Hogg came on, I mean, just to sit there and hear two directors talk shop, I mean, that was phenomenal. And of course, talking shop about Let It Be and Get Back. The Alan Klein discussion was particularly interesting. Peter Jackson asked Michael Lindsay-Hogg about what he thought about Alan Klein. And, of course, I think we were all expecting him to say, what a horrible man he was and everything. And he didn't. Michael Lindsay-Hogg actually had some fairly nice things to say about him.
Wow. Yeah. We know what Glenn Johns thought, right?
I know. But he said he personally didn't have any, bad dealings with him. And I think he said he's still friends with Alan Klein's daughter. I think that's what he said. And I mean, he didn't say he was the best guy in the world, but that he said he was a family man, which I thought was interesting. But I was shocked. I thought, I mean, he painted this fairly decent picture of him. So that was a fascinating section. But I mean, I think everybody just felt like this was such a special moment. We were all lucky to be there.
Right. He's rambling on about, if the fact that he did get them to play in Libya. And then, Peter Jackson's just going in his mind. He's like, okay, now how would you do this? How would you get them there? How would you get this equipment there? Who would be in the audience? How would you get them there? And he's just rambling on and on. And it finally took, after 2 minutes of him just, rambling on about this. Then he asked, how would you have done this? And
that's when he said, well, I'm more of an ideas guy.
Right. Yeah. So that was great thing. That was fun. Yeah, absolutely.
We know Peter Jackson as the director of Lord of the Rings and now Get Back and everything. And here he is just acting like a fan, and, wanting to know and to learn from Michael Lindsay-Hogg, It's so nice to see how down to earth the man is. He wants to learn like the rest of us.
And just for everybody to know, if you don't know yet, an extended edition is not up to him. It's up to Disney. So he's not the person to ask whether or not, or until they say yes, obviously.
But he's hoping. He's himself is hoping.
He's hopeful. Yeah. Yes.
He didn't talk about it. I'm wondering, Ken, was there like some kind of word beforehand? Don't ask him about that or anything like that.
Not at all.
No. Okay.
I wanted to ask Michael Lindsay-Hogg. You hear rumors through the years. Why is it Let It Be has been out of print for so long?
Right.
Yeah.
And what has he heard about it coming out? In fact, that was not covered in that interview in the ballroom there, but Darren DeVivo did a separate interview virtually with Michael Lindsay-Hogg. And even though he doesn't know for sure whether or not Let It Be is going to come out, he said he believes from what he's heard that it will be. And it is a vital part of history. It's not like Get Back completely erases Let It Be and it doesn't matter anymore. This is what we've had to rely on for 50 plus years. And, the more footage you see of the Beatles from that time, this is another under 2 hours of it. You add that to Get Back, you get more of a picture of the whole thing.
And I think we had been kind of sort of unofficially promised that somewhere later on down the line they would release the original Let It Be.
Right.
So
that's what was said in the very beginning. And I still believe that to be the case, but whether it will come out with Get Back simultaneously or a separate release, they can stretch it out, as a separate release.
Yeah.
Who knows? But I believe it will come out.
Well, let me ask you and talk a little, because I have to know this too, because as I said at the top of the show, we were going to, all of us, be on hand on Saturday to talk to Laurence Juber. And because I wasn't able to make it, I feel bad about it, but I saw a lot of photos of you three very comfortably sitting there with LJ. And I know that very shortly, Kit, you're going to have up the actual interview.
Yes, it's finally edited and done. It will be up by tomorrow. And so on this channel, of course.
Yep. And without spoiling too much of it now, I'm just curious, like, how'd you feel, doing it? I know, Ken, you've talked to him so many times, right? Already?
Yeah.
Over the years, I first met him 40 years ago at a fest.
Wow.
In New Jersey in '82. It's the first time I saw him perform and got an autograph. Tom, what did you think? I know probably you've talked to him too, though.
I've talked to him several times as well. But this was, again, like you said, it was a casual, relaxing atmosphere. And I was really excited that a bunch of our fans were able to come in the room with us and watch us do the interview as well. That was really exciting for me, and to see them get to a little behind the scenes kind of type thing of what goes on with the interview. But he was very gracious with his time and gave some great answers, and we know how excited Kit was to to get her question in there and everything. But yeah, I mean, it's he's so approachable. I mean, he's one of, or if not the most approachable person that's worked with Paul. Really, I mean, he doesn't shy away from interviews, which is great.
He's a really nice guy.
Yeah. Well, first of all, we missed you, Joe. I wish we wish you could have been with us. But next year, we're gonna do it upright, and so but yeah, it really was a pleasure. And those of you who are watching, who were there, thank you so much for coming out and supporting us. It really meant a lot to us to have some of our biggest listeners there in the room with us. It was really just a great time. I was the only one who had not interviewed him before, and what a gentleman, what a nice guy. He just, and what a memory he has too.
Oh,
he remembered
one of the better memories of people that I've interviewed. Yep.
Incredible. Yep. And I mean, I'm sure some of the questions we have he's answered a number of times, but you wouldn't have known it because he just would go into detail. And yes, he actually answered a couple of questions that I always wondered about. One of them I asked it, and he had he actually had a terrific answer for it that I think will surprise maybe some of you who thought you knew the answer to it. And then he had another answer about a lyric I always wondered about. So he had a theory about it. But just a wonderful interview. Went by in about 2 seconds, I think. I think you'll agree. I went by so fast. I mean, we could have gone on another hour.
Absolutely.
It was just really great, and we have to thank him again, as you said, Tom. Just so generous with his time, and I asked if he would, we'd love to have him back on the show, and he said anytime. So hopefully, we can get him back on here in the future, because it was just so fun. Really was.
Yeah, I'd like to say that Laurence Juber is a total joy to talk to, and I've interviewed him so many times that unfortunately I feel like I've asked him every single question I could possibly think of. But then I also have to remember that not everyone has heard the interviews that I've done.
Right.
So the great thing about him, and the pros know how to do this. They've been asked some of the same questions. They make it sound like like it's the first time they've been asked the question, and they're not bothered at all by it. Not everybody knows how Laurence got to be in Wings, for example. But we covered a lot of ground, obviously. Back to the Egg, the TV special Tom brought up, the unreleased songs from that time, what he remembered about it. I know you wanted to bring up Goodnight Tonight, Kit, because it's it's really a unique record.
It is.
Which even, Laurence has said to me on several occasions, it's not a disco record. It's a
thank God
record.
I didn't use the D word.
Okay.
I didn't use it.
But when it comes to
I love
it,
by the way. I love it.
I
love
it's
the song too.
Great song. One of Paul's
There's
best
no
bass
other
lines.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't think of another song that sounds like Goodnight Tonight. It's so unique as a recording and as a composition, and the way that it was arranged, and all that Spanish guitar stuff, which Kit, you brought up to Laurence in the interview. And also we talked about the end of Wings and
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
And the McCartney 2 album, and was that a cause for concern when he heard that Paul was doing that? Like, we packed a lot in 1 hour.
We did.
So, and Laurence is definitely, as you said, one of the most approachable. Denny Seiwell I'd put in that category too. Steve Holly, if you get to know him. So of the Wings members. So it's always nice to talk to him. And then I would certainly recommend to everyone, especially those people who are only now discovering what a great guitarist he is. The people who go and see him in the ballroom when he gives his concert, they're just completely floored by what he can do. It's mainly Beatles that he does there, but he'll do a few original songs. He does "Won't Get Fooled Again," the Who classic.
That was amazing.
Yeah, and he's got a lot of albums to go through with a lot of original
I have
stuff.
4 CDs of myself.
And there's his latest right there.
Yes, and we talk a bit about that.
Yeah, we talk a little bit about this as well. So
we talk a bit about his influences and all the different styles he plays. I mean, just as you said, Ken, we cover a wide range of subjects in this interview. Of course, mainly focus on Back to the Egg, but we talk about other things as well. I think you'll all really enjoy it.
My memory of seeing Laurence for the first time in '82 in the ballroom was that he was promoting, I think, his album Standard Time back then, and he very much wanted to get into that. People were asking him Paul questions. I remember him saying, we have something going on after this where if you have any in-depth questions of what it's like to work with Paul, I'll gladly answer them. But this here, is kind of, I mean, not in a, in a pleasant way, that way that he has about him.
Right.
So I remember him playing a lot of good stuff. And then after a while, he just for a sneak, he played the bit from Coming Up. He started playing Coming Up. Everybody was cheering.
Yeah.
Cheering.
Yep.
But now, of course, he seems like he's way more open to as time goes on, much like Paul and Ringo themselves, right? As time goes on, they seem more willing to embrace the Beatle connection.
That's the thing, is so you want that too, but then you also want to give him the proper respect and allow him to talk about whatever it is that he has to promote as well. So
and he talked about
I would have asked him. I would have probably asked him specifically a solo kind of question.
Right.
About his, his regular career.
Yeah, and he talked quite a bit about all he's done in television and about his his daughters. I mean, what a talented family he has.
Sure.
Just
and don't forget his wife, Hope.
Hope. Yep.
I still have a memory.
Connection.
Right. Her talking about the Brady Bunch, and I have a good memory too. I can still see it. I go, remember the episode where I got the frog on my head? She's saying she's talking about a drive-in movie, and she gets a date with Greg or Peter, I think, somebody. Anyway, and she's got the frog on her head. I think it's with Greg, and then Peter's in the back seat, or somebody's in the back seat.
Oh man!
So
good stuff.
I remember that. All right, that'll be fun when I get to see it and hear it.
Yep, it'll be great. Just want to give a Terry Crane is in the comments, so just want to give a shout out.
Okay,
so,
Terry.
Hi, Terry.
Hey, Terry.
Yeah,
thanks for being here.
Just talking about you.
Yeah, and if you find anything good in there, you can. If any questions, you can.
Yep, and Robert S. Who was at the Laurence Juber interview. So so thanks. And Beatle Brad was up here, and we were talking about it before the show. Just want to mention that there was like and of course Joe was part of it, a YouTuber summit in the, in the
I love that. I love it. Yeah. Matthew Street, Alan C. Records.
Right.
Robert S. started a channel. Whatever,
And it was just so great seeing you guys. Thanks to Joe, I've gotten to know many of you, and it was just so great seeing you. It was just so much fun. What a great community.
Yeah, I love being able to get together with everybody, and I'm going to work that in as I just talk a little more about. I was wondering, like, general impressions of this particular fest and some highlights maybe. I wanted to start with you, Tom, being that it was your first, and I know you had a good time. What were your general impressions? What did you enjoy? Highlights?
Yeah. Well, again, after going to the 2018 White Album Symposium, I was introduced to a lot of people that are always at these fests. So that was great, getting to see everybody again after 4 years of not seeing them. So, getting to see Susan Ryan, Jim Ryan, Al Sussman again, and Janet Davis, and obviously, Kit Ken and you, Joe, all those people that I got to meet back in 2018. It was great to see them again. So that right there is a highlight for me. Anytime I get to chat with Mark Lewison is just just a special moment. It really is, because the man is just a wealth of knowledge. And just if we get a second, I like to try to we'd like to try to pick his brain a little bit, and hear anything that any info that he's willing to share is just a great time. That LJ concert, my God, I mean, when he did Won't Get Fooled Again, I mean, he blew the roof off the place. It was spectacular. That whole show was great. Obviously the Peter Jackson thing, being on panels can get a little addictive. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, that's where I was going with that. There were a couple of panels that I was hoping I could have been on them, if it would have worked out
next year.
with you.
Yeah, next year.
One of them, you were on two. One of them was about Beatles collecting.
Yeah, collecting Beatles. And that was great. That was with Terry Crane, Ethan Alexanian, and Piers Hemmingson. So that was a great time. We got to talk about what we like to collect, and just collecting in general. And Susan Ryan did a great job. Susan, I think, did that one, hosting that panel. And then, the media panel with Kit and Ken and Rob Leonard and Ethan again, and Skylar Mooney and Darren DeVivo. That was a great time as well. For me, just being a fan and being on that panel with all you guys was again, it was just a moment that I'll always remember.
I just read your first fest and you're on the panel already. I've been waiting to get on a panel for like 40 years.
You started with a bang, Tom.
Yeah. So
again,
and I definitely want to give a special thank you to Janet Davis, who I'm going to be doing a separate video. She was gracious enough to give me a few items McCartney items that she collected over the years. A lot of stuff that came from the Club Sandwich, paper. And again, it was just an amazing gesture on her part. Just a wonderful thing. Like I said, I'll do a separate video on that. But again, it was just seeing everybody. And then, having the luck at the marketplace too didn't hurt either. But hanging out to you, interviewing Laurence Juber was great. The whole weekend was just a spectacular highlight.
Glad to hear that. And for me, it was such a pleasure, and I mean this, sincerely, getting to meet you, Tom, finally in the flesh, and Andy,
exactly,
your partner over on Two Legs, because I'd met Ken and Kit before, and my friends on YouTube, but I was especially looking forward to meeting you and seeing you and Andy together, and that was great that I had a chance to do that.
Yeah, he was a great host, and on Monday he took me to record store. So but it was great. It was great. So thank you, Andy, as well.
And you almost made it to Strawberry Fields.
Well, we passed the Dakota because I had to excuse myself Sunday during that last panel.
Yeah.
We went to go see Steve Hackett, who used to be the guitar player for Genesis. He's had a really good solo career and just an amazing guitar. So yeah, we went into the city for that. We passed the Dakota, which was just really strange, and just a moment that I just don't know how to describe, but the going into the city and seeing a concert there at the Beacon Theater was special as well.
Is this your first time in the area, New York, New Jersey?
I've been in upstate New York, but never, in Manhattan or anything like that. So,
very nice. All right, Kit, what general impressions of this fest 2022 so far, and highlights for you?
Yeah, I mean, this was a really special one. I mean, I've been to many fests, but this one was just so special because it was the first one a couple of years, and I will never take for granted being with people in person again. I mean, it just was good. Yeah, it was just so good to see everybody and to see live music. I mean, oh my God, that felt good. Sunday night concert. See, this is why, I mean, Tom, you've got to come next year for all of it.
I'll be there.
Really, I mean, the Sunday night concert, I didn't get to see all of it. But seeing, all the guests jamming with Liverpool and they did just an incredible version of Slow Down, and just so many great songs. And then, the tradition that all the guests come up on stage, everybody comes up with the band to sing Hey Jude at the end of the night. Sure, it's just the tradition, but oh man, I mean, it just meant so much more this year, because it's just
that's always like the grand highlight. You get to see celebrities jamming with Liverpool.
Yep.
Fest band.
It's exactly
house band, if you will.
Yeah.
And I remember he said about Hey Jude. They always close it off with Hey Jude.
Exactly.
Right? And the weekend. And I remember one time I seen Mark Lewison. Everybody gets up there. Everybody is together, and I don't know. It's surreal seeing Mark Lewison at one of the last.
Yep. Exactly.
Get up there. He's singing "Na Na Na Na." That was
exactly. And if you're a guest, you get to get up there and do it, and it's just so much fun. I mean, it was so great. As I mentioned, I loved seeing all the YouTubers. I mean, some I'd met before. Some, it's funny, like you were just saying, Joe, like you and Tom met for the first time. I'm just like, oh yeah, you haven't met in person, because there's so many. Like Andy, I met Andy for the first time in person, and it never occurred to me until about a week before. Like, that's right, I've never met him in person, because it just when you're online so much, you kind of forget that you've never met in person. So
you were saying that younger people too. You said you noticed a lot of younger. You seem like young people.
Yeah, there seemed to be a lot of younger people there, which I was very happy to see. Like 20s, 30s, some teenagers. I mean, it was, that I was really excited to see. Oh, before I forget, while I'm saying younger people, Ethan Alexanian was there, and great to see him there. And he has a new episode of his podcast up, Fans on the Run, where he interviews Mark Lewison. He got to interview him at the fest. So the episode just went up. I think it was yesterday or today. I mean, like very, very recently. So go check that out. It's like this was his dream come true, as I'm sure anybody can imagine. So go check that out. But yeah, Ethan was there. Skylar Moody, who is on TikTok. This is the next generation, and it's wonderful to see.
And I got to meet Ethan myself, and we had a nice little talk.
Oh, that's right. You haven't met in person before.
Wow, he's tall.
Mm-hmm. He's gotten taller since the last time I saw him. Yeah, I saw him. Well, I saw him when he was like 16, something like that. So.
And he said to me, he wanted to see if you don't wear a wig. He said, it's really your hair. I said, yeah, it's my hair.
I remember I thought you were wearing a wig once.
Yeah, that's how one time I combed my hair down.
Because you combed your hair down. That's right.
I thought it was a wig.
Oh my God, that's so funny. As you said, seeing Mark Lewison, we got to chat for a bit, and that was great. But just seeing good friends, and seeing you guys. I mean, after so long, and just having so many people come up, and I think all of us, we were all talking about this before the show, just having people come up to you and saying they like what you do, they appreciate what you do. I mean, that just means the world to me.
That's why I do what I do too.
Yeah, exactly. And I that just bowled me over, and I can't, I just can't thank everybody enough. Everybody who came up to my table, and those who bought my books. As somebody pointed out in the comments earlier, I sold out.
Sold out.
It's a sellout.
I'm a sellout, and I'm proud to say it.
If anybody's listening out there, I have to say it. There was a comment by somebody. I don't know if he's probably not watching, and he said, "Kid is a sellout," and I thought, "Oh, what was he saying a horrible thing like that for?" So I removed the comment, but then I realized, he means in my video, Kit. I was interviewing Kit, and she said, "I sold out. I sold the book. I sold all the books." That's all he meant, was that she sold all her books.
Yeah,
that's all.
I've sold out to the man. Yeah.
So I misunderstood. I'm sorry, Ken. I wanted to get you in there. If you how you feel, probably the same. General impressions, 2022 Fest.
It was fantastic. I can't say it was the best one, because I've been to so many really great ones.
Sure.
I've seen some of the most spectacular moments in Fest history. Seeing
the
Peter and Gordon
did you go to
together.
70s ones too?
I did. I never seem to remember if I was at the first one. I was either at the first one in 74 or in 75. but I've been to most of them since. And there's so many great guests from, Billy Preston to Doris Troy, Peter and Gordon. There's a lot of great people that they've had there as guests. But certainly it was very special to have Peter Jackson and Michael Lindsay-Hogg and together. I mean, that was magic. And again, you have to be grateful for what you can do technology-wise these days. Some of us take this for granted when you can just interview people from New Zealand, 16 hours difference, and then bring up Michael Lindsay-Hogg in upstate New York at the same time, and we're watching them together. I mean, that was magic. But I want to echo those words that you were saying there, Kit, because what really touched me over the weekend was the number of people that came up to us telling us how much they enjoy our show.
Yeah.
But even more than that, how many of you watch several of our shows, and just how grateful we are for that. I mean, we know there's a flood of Beatle podcasts out there and a lot of very good ones.
Yes.
So to me, I always think if you take an hour out of your week, and sometimes it's a lot longer, to listen to what we do, how much more flattered can you be? And then a lot of people are saying they watch 2 shows or 3 shows.
Right.
They watch Things We Said Today and Two Legs and Us,
Right.
and Joe.
Yeah.
And maybe my channel. So you can't ask for more than that. I mean, to know that we matter that much to people, that really touched me. And some people remembered me from back when I was on New Jersey radio. And that meant a lot to me. Right there, Joe. Joe was a listener. But there was so many magical moments. And I have to tip my hat off to Darren DeVivo, who not only, and I have to emphasize this, was really key in getting Peter Jackson to be there as a guest. But he did a lot of heavy hitting throughout the weekend. He did a lot of interviews on stage in the ballroom.
Yes,
he did a private interview I mentioned before with Michael Lindsay-Hogg that was shown virtually. And I'm not sure, I have to find out if any of this stuff that was done virtually can be seen later on. It would be great for people to watch. This hour with Michael Lindsay-Hogg was wonderful, giving his whole history leading up to Let It Be. And he also interviewed Chris O'Dell in the main ballroom. He did an interview with Chris and Billy J. Kramer together. He did quite a lot over the weekend. So between all that, Mark Lewison's 2 presentations, it was split up, part 1 and part 2 over the weekend, seeing a lot of footage of the Beatles in India I never saw before, learning more about that whole experience and how important that played a part in Beatles history. That was great. And also, you mentioned the concert at the end with Liverpool and the guests. I got such a big kick out of Billy J. Kramer being there on stage, and he's been there many times with Liverpool. But Laurence Juber is playing the lead guitar parts on Billy's hits from the 60s.
Yeah.
You're so used to seeing Laurence playing his stuff and Beatles music, but not backing up someone like that. And if you know Billy's hits from the 60s, the Lennon McCartney stuff, here's Laurence copying those licks. And to have Greg Bissonette back up everybody. What a great drummer. And explaining what makes Ringo a great drummer. You need more of that out there. So it's a magical thing through the years, seeing Liverpool not only perform just as Liverpool, but backing up all the special guests that are there through the years.
Right.
And I've loved talking to Glenn Burtnick about this, and John Murjavi from Liverpool, and backing up someone like Ronnie Spector several years ago, which was fantastic, and Peter and Gordon. I keep bringing up Peter and Gordon, but there's a lot of magical moments there. But apart from all the interviews that I saw, and I enjoyed the media panel that I was on with you, Kit and Tom, and to have a lot of younger people represented like Ethan Alexanian and Skylar Moody.
Yeah.
The only thing about that panel, it kind of depresses me, is that nobody talks about radio anymore. It's all about podcasting these days.
Right.
And it makes me feel like a dinosaur, because that's my whole, it started out with radio, and I'm still working in radio, plus doing the podcasting. But it's all about how important podcasts are now. How do you make a living from it? What kind of future do you see? What do you have to specialize in what you do? you know, how important it is to keep putting out product every week or every 2 weeks, you know, all that. And Wally is the perfect
Yeah.
moderator
Yeah.
for that. So, you know, I enjoyed doing that because I was with all those people there on the panel and learning more about podcasting from their perspective. So,
Yeah.
you know, there's a lot about the past, there's a lot about the future, you know, and I like the fact that the fest embraces all these people who are part of bringing you Beatles programs, whether it's radio or podcasts or whatever,
Right.
YouTube channels, whatever you call it. So that's very important to me. And you know, meeting the fans. I spend probably half my time there talking
Yeah.
to fans of our shows,
Yeah.
Yep.
you know, and just
Yeah,
getting feedback
absolutely.
from them. I really
Right.
enjoy that.
And then I got messages from people who said they were too shy to come up to us. And I
Yeah.
was like,
I got a
come
couple
on,
of
next time.
Yeah, I
Just
get
come
that
up.
too
we
all
don't
the time.
bite.
Yeah, we don't bite,
They
please.
say I saw you at the Paul
Yeah.
McCartney show in MetLife Stadium the last time. I didn't want to bother you. What are you
Yeah.
kidding?
Yeah.
Right.
Bother
We're,
me.
we're a
Yeah.
friendly bunch.
Please. Yeah.
You're not
Absolutely.
bothering me, by the way.
No.
Yeah.
I also want to give a shout out to the Apple Jam stage because my the
Yeah.
authors tables are right,
That's
right
right.
around there.
Yeah.
There were some great acts this year. Magical Mystery Girls. I want to give them a particular shout out. They were fantastic. I mean, I had heard of them for a long time. I know, a couple of members, but I just never heard a lot of their sets. Wow. I mean, they were fantastic. I mean, I would go see them in concert. I mean, they did a phenomenal job. There was another act that I had to leave in the middle of their set to go to see Peter Jackson. I felt bad they were in that slot because I mean, I'm sure a lot of people left during. And I didn't know, I didn't catch what their name was, but they were doing jazz arrangements of Beatles stuff, and really good. Really good arrangements. Scott Erickson did a number of sets. He did an incredible version of Wanderlust that I really enjoyed.
And, got his new
Yep,
EP.
I got it too.
Yep.
Yes, indeed, got his EP.
Yep.
Just a number of excellent acts that performed there this year, and thoroughly enjoyed it. Just great hearing all these different takes of Beatles and solo songs. So wanted to give them a shout out. Also wanted to give shouts out to Roland, who was manning the virtual hub room. He helped us a great deal with all the technical stuff with the streaming, and Andy Nichols, who is helping us with the post-production of our Laurence Juber interview, which, as I said, will be up tomorrow. And Andy has been working all week on this. So, Andy, thank you so much for all of your help with this. I can't thank you enough.
By the way, just want to say, Magical Mystery Girls, they're doing a concert in New York City at the Cutting Room.
Yes.
And they're going to be doing the rooftop concert and I guess Let It Be music. So that's coming soon.
Yes.
So,
go.
Yeah.
Go. I mean, I am a fan. I have become a fan. I mean, after hearing them, they are excellent.
They passed the audition then, huh?
They passed the audition with flying colors. I mean, I'm a converted fan. They were
wow.
They are terrific. Yeah.
And one of the girls actually just won a prize off my website for my weekly trivia. Just
kidding.
Perfect timing, huh?
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Wow.
All right. Well, some night. I really thanks everybody in the comments. I'm like glancing through the comments here, and a lot of nice comments. So thank you, everyone.
Can I just say something about Lawrence's CD?
Yeah.
Because this one that we showed before, it's called Select Blends. And during the pandemic, on Lawrence's Facebook page, he did something called Tea Time with Laurence Juber. And 5 days a week, live from his home in Los Angeles, he gave a mini concert, usually 4 or 5 songs. So he picked 16 songs from his performances, and it includes Within You, Without You. Does a version of that. And he also does Jealous Guy on there. From Monkees Fans, Pleasant Valley Sunday. This is his new one. You can go to Lawrence's website, lawrencejuber.com, to find out more. But this is his latest. You'll always be pleased with Lawrence's amazing guitar work.
I
and
love those
MacArthur Park. I mean, how can you go wrong with that? You know.
Wow.
There's a complicated song.
Yes.
Yep. I loved his tea time sessions.
Oh, they were great.
They got us through the pandemic. You know, I mean, it was really those the lockdown times. It was really great to see. Really nice of him to do that.
Well, okay. Any other thoughts? Because this has been a lot of fun. I think we really pretty much covered everything.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we don't forget to say happy birthday to Julian Lennon.
Yes,
and,
yeah.
Today he
59.
is 59 years old, believe it or not.
Wow.
And he just released 2 brand new songs, which you can listen to online. One is called Every Little
Moment.
Then you're going to say thing.
Yeah.
I was hoping it was.
Maybe a force of habit.
Yeah. And the other song is called Freedom. That's not Paul's song.
That sounds familiar.
Go Aries. Yeah. Aries are the best.
Right, that's true.
And also we released a cover of Imagine.
Yes.
Which on
it's
with
for Ukraine. For the fight in Ukraine. Yep. That's also on YouTube to check it out. So
all right. Well, are we going to do the usual wrap up with information, or Kit, where to find? And also, we're going to have our regular. This was like kind of a special extra show,
special
that
report.
we're doing, but we're going to have our regular show on the 18th.
Yes, indeed. Yep. 18th, 9 p.m. Eastern, as always, right here. So hope you'll join us then. But until then, of course, as always, you can reach us right here. Find us on our YouTube page. You can find us on virtually any podcasting platform you can find. You can reach us via Twitter at talkmoretalk1, the number 1. You can email us at talkmoresolotalk@gmail.com. As always, we welcome your feedback, any ideas of future topics you would like to see. You can also find us on our website, talkmoretalk.com. And we are also on Facebook. And you can find us over just Talk More Talk, a solo Beatles videocast. And of course, right here on this channel, please subscribe and smash that like button.
Yes.
And as the kids
Tom
say,
did you get to 1,000 yet, Tom?
I was just gonna say that we hit 1,000 subscribers today.
Whoa!
Yes.
All right.
So thank you everybody that has subscribed, and now you can all unsubscribe. But we hit the goal. I'm teasing. I'm kidding. But thank you to everybody out there that has subscribed, and more importantly, watched our show. We really appreciate it.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Oh, all right, everybody. Well, I guess so. I'll just I don't know if do you want to say what you're going to be up to lately, or do you want to save it for the next show?
Tomorrow we post our new episode on the Two Legs YouTube channel, and we've got Ken Michaels joining us this time, and we do part 2 of our series called A Friend Like You, where we talk about all the songs that Paul has worked on other musicians' records or soundtracks or compilations. So that was a lot of fun. We talk about the 80s and 90s, and and a good time. We do our top 10 of that chunk. I think we talked about 36 songs, and then we did our top 10 from that 36, and it was a lot of fun just talking and recognizing those songs, because a lot of time those kind of songs, they get lost in the mix. So I always feel it's important to tell everybody about those songs that they may have missed, and then hopefully they'll check them out. So thank you, Ken.
What's going on?
Thank you, Tom. It was a blast doing that show. It's kind of interesting in a way, because just today I discovered through a friend of mine that the demo, part of the demo of one of the songs that we discussed,
that's right,
is now on YouTube. Should I even say the song?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes.
Attention.
I heard it. I heard the clip.
I was reading about that. Yeah.
Thank you for sending that to me, Joe.
Yeah, and what did you say about that clip?
I thought it sounded a little bit better because Paul's singing it.
Yeah, no, it was nice to hear that.
But it was interesting. It was interesting. It was cool because then we also got to hear the one track. Was it a couple years ago that came up? That was Paul had given to Ringo for the Time Takes Time album. Was it? Do you remember the name?
Yeah. What was it called? All This Time?
Yeah, unfortunately don't remember the name of the track, but that went out for auction too. And I think this is going up for auction.
Okay. Yeah, it is. Yeah, that one is.
I wish I heard the whole demo though.
Exactly.
Obviously.
Yeah.
What's going on with you, the queen of all books? What's going on?
Well, not too much. It's pretty soon I'm going to be on with Plastic EP. We'll be back with our greatest shows of the 60s. We're going to be talking about the Addams Family pretty soon.
One of my favorites.
Indeed. We're just figuring out our times yet. So just check out my Facebook page and I will let you know when we are going to be doing that show. And as I mentioned, by tomorrow, our interview with Laurence Juber should be up on this channel. So so stay tuned. Watch this space.
Okay. What's going on, Ken?
More interviews are coming your way on my YouTube channel, Ken Michaels Radio. If you can, please subscribe. I'm at around 860 subscribers. Let's keep it going. Love to get it up to 1,000.
Yes,
and
you'll be there quick.
Thanks to all the new subscribers and those who have been with me since the beginning. And things we said today, we should have a new show up next week, I hope. We haven't discussed it yet. I think Darren is still in a coma.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
So we'll see. They'll every couple of weeks there's a new show of things we said today. And as always, there's my website, kenmichaelsradio.com. Beatles trivia every week where you can win 1 out of 10 prizes. And just go to the Beatles trivia page. Loads of interviews from the past that are on there that you should check out from some of the people that we mentioned here: Laurence Juber, Terry Crane, a lot of people. So if you can, check that out, kenmichaelsradio.com. And every little thing, I'm working on my next show, which will have a Back to Nature Beatles set in time for Earth Day.
Nice.
So there's a page on my website for every little thing, which lists all the radio stations that carry the show and when they air them, with links to their websites so you can stream them. So that's keeping me busy.
Keeps you out of trouble.
Always.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that hits it in the head right now. And I got to say, everybody, that it's been a lot of fun. And on behalf of Kid O'Toole and Tom Magnani, Ken Michaels, I'm Joe Mayo. And I got to say, when it comes to the Fest for Beatles fans, I'm all for it. I'm a Beatles fan, too.
Take care.